Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Minisode of Not Your Nana's Norms. Dr. Amy here, sociologist and educator. As always, before we go any further, I want to acknowledge the Wadawurrung people, the traditional custodians of this land, and extend my respect to elders past and present, and of course to all First Nations peoples listening here today. So I'm jumping in mid-month because, my dear friends, you actually had a lot of questions, and it made me realise that perhaps there actually might have been a few more goodies that I could have added to our birthday party episode. So, a question from SO. Why do you think kids' parties are more outsourced to venues in the 21st century? Excellent question. So I think this is likely due to a few reasons. Firstly, in Australia, we've increasingly been building bigger and bigger homes compared to previous generations. And I believe that the average family home in the 1950s was probably around 100 square metres. And then by the 80s, it was around 150 square metres. Whereas now, it's closer to 250 square metres. But the size of the extra space inside is largely made up of those extra bedrooms and walk-in robes and ensuite bathrooms and studies and things like that, rather than a massively increased communal space. Now, conversely, the size of the average Australian house block has actually shrunken over those decades. We've kind of gone from around 700 to 1,000 square metres in, say, the 1950s, then to 600 to 800 in the 1980s, and then now we're often seeing blocks that are less than 400 square metres. And all of this means that there just isn't enough room in many homes to cater for a large group of excitable, party-ready kiddos. And so having a party away from the home just makes it possible to host that big party. Now, number two, we also see a lot of dual income families now where both parents are working outside the home, and so outsourcing some of that labour associated with the planning and running of the party to a kids' party venue just makes sense because there's more income coming into the house to pay for it. But also there's then no cleaning the house before and after, and no cooking or catering to everyone's dietary and allergy needs and so forth. Okay, so the second question I got was from MD, and they asked, why do we blow out candles on a cake for our birthday? Excellent question. So I did some digging, and it turns out that this whole cake and candles moment thing actually comes from a mix of really old rituals that we've sort of slowly blended into this birthday tradition that we know now. The ancient Greeks actually baked round cakes for Artemis and then lit candles on top of it so that the glow kind of looked like the moon. And they believed that the rising smoke carried wishes to the gods. And then later on, Europeans used candles and sweet cakes to protect children from bad spirits on their birthday. And then, of course, the Germans sort of wrapped all this together during Kinderfest and turned the cake into the sort of centerpiece and the candle blowing into little wish-making ritual. And, you know, of course, today it's basically a fun shared moment that marks us growing older. and gives the birthday person a bit of a spotlight. And of course it keeps that whole let's make a wish magic alive. Finally, the third question I got was from AG, and they said, why do we sing a song to celebrate someone's birthday? We talked a little bit about this, didn't we, in the podcast, but basically people have been singing to celebrate someone's birthday, obviously long before the happy birthday song. And we heard that people of British heritage often sang for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. Other communal drinking songs that sort of honour someone's special day have been around for a long time. And of course, these weren't necessarily birthday songs in the modern sense, but they were social celebration songs that were used whenever we wanted to recognise someone. And so I guess the idea of singing a song to mark someone's birthday comes from this older tradition of using group singing to show affection or approval or respect. And then by the time the Happy Birthday to You song comes into play, as we talked about from sort of the early 1900s, but obviously became more fashionable by mid-century, people were already really used to singing something for someone's birthday, and so that new song just replaced the old ones and became the standard. But overall, there's really that same human instinct that ultimately when someone matters to us, then we'll gather round and we'll sing a song to make that moment feel shared and special. Before I leave you, I also wanted to let you know that next month we're going to explore a topic that is pretty cool and is something that I explored during my undergrad years at university. And that is the topic of elevators and escalators and all things social norms that relate to those two topics. So that should be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see you all then. Have a good few weeks, folks. Signing off.